It's not just another stir fry. This has got a depth of flavor. It's spicy. You've got the serious savory flavor of the spring onion and that sort of slow cooked garlic in the stir fry, topped with that crunchy cashew, Thai style cashew chicken. I'm Jeremy from School of Wok here in Covent Garden, and we're starting straight on the wok for this week's Wok Wednesday. The first thing we're gonna do is actually slowly cook my garlic cloves whole. And the idea is that I want the garlic to sort of soften, but also to add flavor to the oil, and then I'll use this oil to then cook the rest of the stir fry. So I've got that on a medium to low heat. Just let it simmer away or sizzle away for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm also cooking on the induction hob here on a flat bottom wok, mainly because our gas is conked out, but also to show you these awesome new woks, which are pre-seasoned flat bottom woks, slightly thicker than the old ones, and they are great. You'll find them on the School of Wok website. Right, so whilst that's sizzling away, I'm gonna take my spring onions and chop all my sort of base veg for this. Just take the ends off the spring onions, and I'm gonna sear those just for a bit of garnish on the plate. And then the green, I'm just gonna cut into rough lengths, and they'll go into the base of my stir fry. I've got some Thai small bird eye red chilies, which I'm just gonna pierce open. I don't want this super spicy. I've got dry red chilies that's gonna go into this as well. These dried red chilies have just been soaking in hot water for about 15 minutes. That'll add a bit of color and a bit of smoky flavor to the dish. This large red chili, 3 types of chilies, definitely Thai, just for garnish. So I'm just gonna slice a few rings of chili for later. Next up, and this is completely optional, but I've got my Chinese flowering chives. I'm just gonna take the dry ends off. So you're gonna go for nice lengths of these chives. Next up, my chicken thighs. I'm just gonna cut these into nice chunks. I'm gonna season this and I'm gonna marinate the chicken first. I've got about half a teaspoon of chili powder, some fish sauce, not too much, and then about a tablespoon of oyster sauce. Give that a good marinade, good massage through. Get all that chili powder spread across the chicken pieces. Wash your hands. So my garlic and garlic oil is good to go. And you want to sort of just push into the garlic slightly and sort of feel or see that it's soft enough to actually sort of squish a little. Remove the cloves, and then we will use that oil for the stir fry in a second. Now I'm on a medium to high heat, and I'm just gonna get all my cashews in. That's a fair amount of cashews. This is just a cashew chicken stir fry. I want them to toast and sort of get a little bit of color on one side, give them a little flick, and then they should be fine. Probably talking about 1 to 2 minutes. So whilst they're toasting, I'm just gonna mix up a quick stir fry sauce. I've got the rest of my oyster sauce here, about another tablespoon. Same amount of fish sauce, roughly a teaspoon, let's call it a heaped teaspoon of palm sugar. Give that a little mix around. And then what I'm actually gonna do is take a small amount of this and just lightly caramelize those cashews. Just so it's got this sort of sweet, salty edge to them. And that'll stick to the wok a little, but don't worry about that. You can always wash the wok in a second. Still on a medium heat, let them sort of crisp up and caramelize a little bit now. Not too long, you want to take those straight out. Great char around those now. And as they're cooling, that sort of very rough and ready caramel will just sit around the cashew nuts. Don't forget your garlic. I'm gonna just peel those cloves open, and you can see how sort of soft and almost gooey that clove is. I'm gonna add a bit of dark soy to my sauce now, and that'll just accentuate the deep sort of color of this stir fry. And then onto the serious wokking. High heat, I'm gonna use that garlic oil that I made earlier. Swirl that around your wok. I'm gonna start with my spring onion whites. And again, this is just to add sort of layers of flavor and texture to the dish. And I want to char them nicely. And again, we're sort of adding more flavor to that oil, to that garlic oil. I'm just gonna take those out and then spread those across my plate. Just gonna add a bit more garlic oil and then stir fry my marinated chicken. Smoking hot. Press down whilst it's on that really high heat. And then, because I'm on the induction, I'm just gonna turn it down one little notch. And remember, you've got that chili powder in there, and that chili powder can catch quite quickly, which is why I've just sort of turned it down slightly for this moment before I look to turn that chicken. And they've got a great color on there. Look at that. And then press down and sear the other side. We're gonna do this sort of for 30 seconds, flip it, 30 seconds, flip it, maybe 3 or 4 times until the chicken is well sealed around the edges, but not burnt. My chicken has been sealed all the way around quite nicely now. And you'll notice I'm just taking the chicken out, but trying to leave the oil or the fat in the wok. And that way, we're using that sort of layered fat, that layered and flavored oil for the whole stir fry. Just letting that cool for a second before I carry on with my stir fry. Now, onto the quick stuff. My spring onion at the top of my wok clock, starting on a high heat. Might bring my garlic in later on because it's so mushy. And then my chilies, fold that through, pick up all that flavor from the oil. My budding chives, all the while on a high heat. And the reason why I've removed that chicken is to allow space for these chives to stir fry nicely and not kind of stew in the wok. So I've got my roasted garlic now sitting into there. You can see it's all moving quite quickly here. So my chicken back in on a high heat. My sauce over the top with that palm sugar in there. It's going to stick in quite nicely. Flick that through on a high heat. Don't lose that sizzle. Now that's sizzling away nicely. You can really smell that fish sauce coming off the bottom of the wok. And I'm cooking this chicken through to a point where the sauce is kind of wrapping around the chicken before I then add a bit of chicken stock. Not too much chicken stock, just enough to make a nice stir-fry sauce that you can kind of pour over your rice or whatever it is you're going to eat this with. And you can see my whole cloves of garlic just sort of seeping into that sauce there. That's vigorously boiling. That there is ready. My cashews, I'll take some of which to sit into the stir fry and then a few more to garnish at the end. That's done. Okay. We've just got a little bit of chili and coriander to garnish. These cashews that I've left to the end will be super crunchy now that they've cooled. My Thai style cashew chicken. I'm going to try and get some of this garlic along with the chive and a piece of chicken. It's so simple. There's layers of flavor. I've done it sort of, a little bit at a time. You don't have to cook it like that. You could just stir fry it as normal, but I do love the layers of flavor. It's perfect with a bowl of rice. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite stir fry is with just a simple bowl of rice.